What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to Movie Night Podcast. We got episode 127. Mr. Hugh or Clay picked out Dr. Lamb from I always forget that your name's Clay, bro. Like, legitimately, I just forget. And then I see it pop up on something. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's not even this fool's name. So we picked out, or he picked out, Dr. Lamb from 1992, Hong Kong cinema. Why don't you give us a quick rundown of why you picked this movie, and then anything you might know about the backstory of it, so we can start talking about it, because it's an interesting pick.
First off, I tried really hard to try and understand why it's called Doctor Anything. Like, I don't really know. I think I saw him look through, like thumbing through a little anatomy manual for maybe 3 seconds. But yeah, Dr. Lamb. Oh. It's about LAM KOR-WAN, who was a prolific person in China. I guess he was sent to prison for various unsundry things. So it's a true story.
That's a good word. Let's go. Word of the day.
But yeah, true story. Hey, and which was surprising to me because it seemed so out there.
Me too. That's exactly what I thought.
But man, all the translation that really threw me for a loop initially. I've seen this movie 3 times now. But man, the translation, I peep you, I beat you, I kill, stuff like that. I was like, huh? I peep you?
So I figured out what it was. First off, I was wondering if you knew that it was based on a true story, because I didn't know that until like 20 minutes ago. Because I was doing a little looking into it while I was finishing up and getting dinner finished and everything, which is an odd movie to watch while you're trying to eat dinner.
Yes.
But there's another Netflix documentary, or not documentary, a Netflix miniseries that came out that's got a lot in common with this. We'll talk about in a couple of minutes. But yeah, it was definitely it was a transliteration. It wasn't translated, it was transliterated. So every word was word for word, and that's why it sounded so ridiculous. It was driving me nuts. I had to figure out what was going on. So they didn't translate it to make it sound like what you would hear in English. They transliterated it. So it's like, I beat you, instead of like, I'm going to kick your butt. It was like, I beat you. It sounds crazy. Yeah. It sounds weird. So that's what we were getting with this movie, which oddly enough, the only reason I know what a transliteration is because I used to go to church. So I learned.
Well done.
Bro, that's a whole nother, that's the Pope's exorcist right there. We'll get into that one of these days when you exorcise these demons. But yeah, man, I wasn't sure about this one because I watched it on YouTube, as I assume all y'all did.
Yeah.
So it was like super bad quality, right? Like visually. I don't normally care about that, and I don't know that it really bothered me that this much, other than I wanted to see what was going on, because it was a pretty gruesome, disturbing, topic. And it was a little hard to see it at times. And I was watching it on a 55. If I had watched it on a big TV, I think I would have had to come in here anyways, because it would have been too Minecrafty. Yeah,
I actually have the DVD.
Why am I surprised?
And then it's pretty good. They have a Blu-ray that's updated too. And I have another Billy Tang Run and Kill. It's a little odd, but Billy Tang was, I think, co-director of these movies.
Okay.
And he's got some pretty hard subject matter for the 90s. I don't really know much about him, but, when I heard the name a couple times, there's one more movie I'm after, and Red to Kill, I believe. And it's like $100 for a DVD. So
that one is one that I've heard of. I was going to talk to Chris about that one. I've heard about that movie. I didn't know they were associated until today. And so, yeah, that would be one that I would like to acquire at some point.
Yeah, it's a bill. I mean, they're proud of them, but man,
I'm gonna go a different route for mine. I'm not gonna pay $100 for that.
Oh, sure, no doubt.
Yeah, there's a recent Blu-ray release of Dr. Lamb.
Yeah,
came out. I forget who did it.
Under Earth, I think.
Okay,
that's what it would say. Unearthed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very recent, I think. So
I'm gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah, I want to get. I'll just go out and ahead and say it. I enjoyed this enough to want to go ahead and own a copy of it. I'm finding the Blu-rays for Dr. Lamb for about $30 on eBay, so I'll probably just snatch one from there.
I was selling it for $22 on Grindhouse video, maybe, or
Okay.
yeah, like a Blu-ray site.
Let's see. Yeah, I definitely want to own a copy of this. This was at first I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about it because the first like 20 minutes are just so ridiculous. Like they're silly. Like I don't like the way that a lot of the movies from this region begin because they always begin with some like hokey, slapsticky. Like I don't really understand. It's got to be a culture thing. They all not all. A lot of movies that I've seen recently start that way. And it's hard for me to stay engaged because I don't like movies like that. I don't want to watch a family film of any kind. Usually, I just don't like that kind of stuff. But if you can sit through it, the juice is usually worth the squeeze on one of these movies. It's how it is with Chinese Ghost Story and Devil Fetus. They're both the same way. Like they start off kind of hokey and stuff, and then you're like, oh, well, this got cool after a few minutes. So
yeah, I feel like cops and stuff are always depicted like this in pretty much any Asian film. They're always just very goofy and slapsticky, and they slap around people and like beat people a lot.
Dude, I think that's not even just over in the eastern part of the world, man. I think that cops just do that in a lot of places. I think that people over here think that that's weird and uncommon, when in reality, that's probably the way it is pretty much everywhere. I mean, that happens here. I mean, I've been interrogated by the police. It is scary. And they didn't like beat me up or anything, but they definitely had me thinking they were gonna. Like it was terrifying. Like I don't think I've ever been that scared. Like they'll tell you stuff that you're like, well, do I believe this or not? And you thinking like, wait a minute, did I actually commit a crime? Am I fixing to go to jail? Like, oh crap, what did I do yesterday? Was I drinking? I don't know.
So like the hammer book thing, does that work? I don't know. I've never seen that before. It seems like you'd have like a buffer between you and the actual hammer hit. I'm like,
just like doesn't bruise or something.
Yeah, there's different variations on that, but it absolutely does work. That's why they'll hit you with telephone books, because it won't bruise.
Right.
But if they hit you in the face, it'll break your nose still. It could definitely break a tooth out or something, but it won't leave like a giant welt on you somewhere. But it still hurts. So I mean, they don't they get creative, I guess. Yeah. That was a really weird scene. They're like just cracking this dude. I was like, what are y'all doing? You're gonna break a rib, but I don't know.
It's definitely sillier, cop stuff over there than it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it just they're just making fun of them, or they're just using it as, not like America where it's all serious and.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of what they do is caricatures of different people and things. Yeah. I don't know that it's necessarily meant to be super, super seriousness. I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker of this. I don't really know, but it feels like like you said a minute ago, it's a pretty common thing in Asian film. You're being pretty quiet, Josh. Did you absolutely hate this movie, or are you just kind of waiting for your piece?
It's all right.
You're not going by the Blu-ray?
No, not really. It was fine. There were some scenes that were kind of cool, but it wasn't really my thing, to be honest.
I mean, I didn't love it. It's not a 10 for me, but I definitely enjoyed it. I want to rewatch it. I'd like to watch it on a better copy so I can get to know if I really want to keep it or throw it at the store. But I do think that this one was short enough. It got to the point, and it was just the wonky enough story. So, like anybody that's just now popping in, what this man did, Hugh, why don't you explain what this guy's famous for?
LAM KOR-WAN.
I think it was LAM. Yeah,
that's his name. He was the Jars murderer. Apparently, he had 4 victims. 1982 was apprehended. The movie's pretty accurate in terms of like his backstory and crimes and arrest. But I think this is sort of similar to like the Chinese Silence of the Lambs. The YouTube video had like 220,000 views, and it's only been posted for a year. So I think it's got a lot of traction with the Chinese community, from what I understand. So it's it's a popular kind of Cat 3 movie. Cat 3 movies are a category of like extreme horror,
like the video nasties.
Yeah, video nasty kind of stuff. And this specific title, I think, is one of the kings of the category. So So I don't know, man. I mean, I thought it was honestly, I love this movie. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's because I found it like, just searching around kind of. So it's like,
I will say, if I had just
But,
stumbled across this movie, I would probably have been excited to show y'all.
yeah,
I do like.
It's fun.
I wasn't sure at all how Josh was going to feel about it. I thought Chris would dig it, and I wasn't at all surprised once I watched it, like why you liked it. They were what I was reading was saying that they related this guy in real life to the Eastern Jeffrey Dahmer because he was doing so many similar things. Because there was like necrophilia involved. There was all kinds of stuff that was happening with this dude, and he was like dismemberment and things like that are like super gnarly, like real gruesome, disturbing, gross acts. I don't want to go into too much detail, but like, yeah, it's the stuff that you read about and go, what? This really happened? And yeah, I saw a quick little snippet video of this dude getting arrested, and he was like, it even kind of looked like Jeffrey Dahmer. Bro had glasses. He had the little like parted hair, like kind of like longish, I guess it's probably a sign of the times. He looked kind of like, he looked like he's from the 80s, but I was like, whoa, this is like eerily familiar. But
the fact that it is a true story, I didn't know, which makes it a little more interesting. I just felt like for me the whole like structure of the movie kind of maybe didn't make it the most dramatic. Like it's not like Silence of the Lambs where they're like hunting another serial killer or something. And there's something like there's some sort of like
Oscar.
well, no, I'm not trying to say that, but like that there's no like underlying tension. They're not like really trying to catch him or anything. They're like he's caught pretty quickly in the movie, and it's just him telling its story. So it's basically just flashbacks to nasty deeds. There's not like a whole lot of
yeah, right.
Like a lot of tension, pulling you through the movie. For me,
it's got some good relationship aspects. I mean, he falls in love with the pure woman and marries her, and she just lays there while he jumps on top of her.
I think that one of the things with this movie that I liked about it was the fact that they just get the guy, and then it's like more like a ghost story, if you will. Like he's telling you, like, yeah, this is what happened, and you're like, what? And you're wondering, like, okay, is he exaggerating? Because you're seeing the horror on these people's faces. It's just a reversal of sorts. I wonder what the reasoning for telling it that way was, because there's got to be a reason why they went that way instead of finding the victim, finding parts of a victim. Right. I guess because it was all done in one location, and the way that it, because in real life it's exactly what it was. He was at home living with his family doing this in a bedroom, and a photograph is what got him caught. Like this is exactly how, like, which I think is just bananas.
Well, I was just kind of watching it and thinking, like, man, I could see them doing like Zodiac or Seven or something, doing it some more in that style and just being totally riveted. But just the kind of the way that it was told, kind of just was a little bit limp to me.
Yeah, I would imagine that has part to do with where it's from and the time it was made.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and
like a little. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying, like, I think that's what Josh was getting at a little bit. That I kind of felt the same. I didn't love it. That kind of kept me from like really liking it. If it had a little more tension and stuff like that, I found it would have been a little better. But knowing that it was based off something, I mean, I'm sure like when this came out at the time, like everybody knew what it was. So like, if it's getting watched in China, they know the story already.
That's true.
So, they're going into the movie, I guess, kind of like knowing what happens already.
Yeah, it's like they knew they knew the result, but they wanted to know the details, and so that's how they told it. Like, okay, well, you know the result, so here's how it went down. I never really thought about it like that.
So,
so that kind of softens it for me a little bit. Just that makes a little more sense of like why it was done the way it was.
Man, I tell
cutting
you,
back.
I watch movies so different than you guys. I guess I just it never ceases to amaze me how I watch something and just get like a different thing out of it. Because like it never even occurred to me that it wasn't a tension-filled movie at all. Like I mean, obviously, if I had noticed, any kind of scenes that built tension, I would have recognized that. But the fact that it was missing, it just never really occurred to me. Like,
it has some tension in the taxi, and he chases that girl down, and like the rain.
But come on, we kind of know what's gonna happen every time.
I mean, that's
You know,
reaching, but
if
whatever
you're
though.
a fragile person who doesn't get out much, and you see that movie, and you're like, "Oh my god, he's gonna get
If you're a
her."
fragile
it's-
Fragile
that
person
doesn't
is
get out
reaching for a
much.
Cat 3 movie.
Yeah, you won't, I was gonna say you won't get to that point in the movie.
It's
But-
on YouTube.
Yeah,
But,
but
He's like sending it around to all his coworkers, just like anonymously.
But yeah, no, I didn't think there was any tension in the movie at all. But that doesn't make it a good or bad movie for me. I mean, I understand why Josh wanted it built a different way, because I kind of at this point know what kind of stuff he's usually geared towards watching, or at least the stuff that he enjoys watching. He'll kind of watch whatever we throw at him at this point. But with the stuff that you really like, it's it's kind of like being absolutely shocked when I go, I'm not really into this 2 hour and 14-minute slow burn. Like, yeah, I'd kind of rather have this movie we just watched personally, but it does take all kinds.
I think Fat Bing needs his own movie.
Fat
I
Bing, my man.
think I want a Fat Bing shirt, bro. The fact that they called that poor guy Fat Bing the whole movie, I was like, doggone.
Every-
He's
every time they-
cool with it.
Yeah, every time they called him that, I just like got
I
a
was
little
chuckling.
chuckle.
Yeah.
It is probably the
Definitely.
coolest name in a movie for a while. I was like, when it happened the first time, I was like, is that right? Like, did they call that guy Fat Bing? And like 5 minutes later, like, Fat Bing. And I'm like, oh, they're not even calling him Bing. They're just going to call him Fat Bing. All right.
It's like watching The Sopranos or something. It's like, pussy.
That's
It's just
Yeah,
like one of
yeah.
those, one of those names.
Dude, those guys had some nicknames on them, buddy. I tell you what.
Yeah.
I will say the only part that had me a little bummed out about this movie was the where it lacked in video quality, because I didn't get to see what any of it really looked like. So I don't recall any of like the gory stuff. There was a couple of things that I saw that I was like, okay, I know what's happening here, and I can see exactly what's going on. But like, that's part of what I like about these movies. I want to see the severed limbs and the practical effects and things. The Jigglypuffs. I did see a couple Jigglypuffs. Yo, when they broke that bottle down and it spilled on old buddy, I was like, oh, that is so gross. It had to be like formaldehyde or something, right? But
Yeah, my son walked in on that scene. He was like, "Why are they jiggling that?" And I
Yeah.
was like,
The guy's just like shaking him or something. I don't know.
I think he was trying to make a point, but instead of like just trying to shake his hand, he was going. It's like, buddy, what are you doing? Hey, are we gonna not mention this guy's dad being like, it's all right that he was trying to like peep on people and pull little sister's pants down? I was like, what is
he's
going
just trying
on
to
right
learn.
now?
What's the problem?
Oh man,
Boys will be boys.
Man, it's
Yeah.
crazy, dude. Craziness, man.
I wanted to mention when they find
love you.
the
See you tomorrow.
videotapes or whatever, they start watching the videotapes.
"Oh my god!"
And at one point they're watching them and they're cut back to the people watching them, and then they cut back to the screen, and there's like this like panning shot of the camera that's like on the TV screen. Like, who's in the room with him photographing this
Panning the
stuff?
camera.
Yeah, panning the camera.
What
And
about
then it
the
cuts to, like,
audience?
yeah.
What about the audience of like 15 people crammed in that room watching the video like it's going to be some kind of big evidence or whatever? I mean, they're like, yeah, it's been going on for 40 minutes. And like, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they were.
Oh yeah,
they
she's
got
like, it's
into
been
it.
going on for half an hour. And he goes, no, it's longer. It's 40 minutes. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, bro. It's. I mean, you can.
Fat Bing was keeping time.
Dude, I didn't even like. This is one of those things that makes me feel like an idiot, bro. Like, I didn't even like realize the fact that, like, yeah, how is that doing that with the camera? Like, what's
yeah. Like, you were watching the TV screen, but the camera's moving
It's
around the
panning
chair
around.
and stuff. And like, but then he's got a camera set up in the back of the room, and then it goes to that shot later. So it's like, yeah, okay,
It was like those shots that they maybe meant to like put in the movie,
right?
but they just used it for that instead. And I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, it cuts from like the crappy like TV screen to being in the scene, and all of a sudden, it's like swooping around.
The editing
chair
was
and
pretty
stuff.
bad on this movie. I'll give you that. What's up with the random English drops? Like, they're like,
Yeah.
Q. You're like,
No.
what?
Yeah, when they started like yelling and cursing at each other in English, like those were awesome too.
I legitimately was like, okay, did somebody take parts of this movie and make a YouTube video?
Dude, I thought the same thing. I was like, are these
Let's
two different cuts of the movie? And they just like, well, we're missing a scene here. We got to get it from the other version or something.
Yeah, I did a little looking into the Blu-ray. Like it's got a pretty decent transfer from the looks of it. So
Yeah,
if you're
I'm gonna pick up the Blu-ray. I think.
I wonder if they
I wanna
keep
do
the translation.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, hopefully, maybe they did a better translation on it or different translations. But I don't know. I think that's part of the charm.
Part of the,
No,
yeah.
I'm with you. I thought that was really dumb. But I mean, it won't keep me from watching it a second and third time probably. But I'm not really. It really did drive me kind of nuts.
I will say, like the first time I watched it, I was like, "What? Like his deposition? Do they mean interrogation?" Like I was really.
There's all kinds of things that don't make sense in this movie.
The third time, I was like, whatever. Like, go with it. I know what's gonna happen. Like, it just deposition.
Yes,
It's a deposition. I was like, no, dude. You're not being deposed here.
And why did they just randomly try to reenact like one of his?
Oh, and put that girl in that couch.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Here, get in the box.
Yeah,
What?
Point of doing
What
that?
We need to reenact this whole thing.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I can't breathe in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Why would you need to do that to like
that's like,
to create tension.
It's on video already. We need to act it out.
Yeah, they made it sound like it was like a thing they do or something, but
maybe so.
Whatever.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Like, didn't quite know what to expect with it, and I didn't love it. I probably won't go buy the Blu-ray, but I had a pretty good time.
I mean, never mind. Chris, you know exactly what I was going to ask. I think if you think about it long enough, you're gonna figure out what I was going to say. And I don't want to say it on this show. I'll say it afterwards.
Okay.
I don't want to be a prick. Oh man. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, again, I wasn't like hooting and hollering, but when it was over with, I was like, shoot, all right. I wonder if this is available on Blu-ray for a reasonable price. I definitely wanted to check it out. And I've done at least one more time. I want to pick up a copy of it. I like the artwork on the cover too. I know that doesn't really make a difference for the movie, but I'm an 80s and 90s kid, dude. I grew up in video stores, and so when they have good artwork, I usually get drawn to it. So,
and it at least had a coherent plot. You know, just some of these just have the wackiest plots that make no sense. I think it's more fantasy, sci-fi, kung fu type stuff that just have the wackiest plots. But you know, at least I could follow this.
Even with like the movie Josh picked last week, like I recognize wholeheartedly that that's a better made movie. Like it's super easy to figure out. Like it's just clear. Like it just everything about it is kind of better, to be honest. But like, you know, I like this story more so. This is kind of what I'm more interested in. And so the execution isn't always gonna make or break whether or not I like the movie. I'm more interested is like, did I get entertained by it? And and that only means like, was the story something I'm interested in? I think we all kind of like we've got these boxes that we fit in, and we have, you know, if we fit in the box, we're good with it. But if we don't fit in the box, we're uncomfortable. We don't really want to keep doing whatever we're doing. And even with
I kind of wish it wasn't a true story, because like the first couple times I watched it, I got a real kick out of it. Now I'm kind of like, it really happened, you know.
It's not quite as funny when he's
it's not.
Dude, I feel like a jerk again, man, because I didn't even think about it like that. I was like, that's crazy. Like,
no.
I mean, there's so much worse stuff happening now, so I don't really care about all
but
that.
Like you're saying, it's all about kind of the way it's told, and
yeah,
it was told in a serious tone, like, oh, you know, this is such a terrible thing. It would be a different story. I mean, they almost deliberately kind of yucked it up a little bit, and I call them the all shucks cops, because they're always like, bah, whatever, you know. Oh,
dude, the Korean movies.
I mean, they're doofuses. So and you know the cops aren't like that in real life, or you know.
So I'm really actually pretty curious to how Korean cops behave in real life, because every movie I've ever seen from Korea the cops are idiots.
That
Like, they're-
actually does feel like a political statement in Korean movies. Like
you think so?
they go out of their way to make sure that they're all
Bro,
stupid.
they say that they make the most just insane mistakes, and you're like, huh? Like, who would have done that? I'm not even close to a cop, and I wouldn't have done that. Like, I would have done it this
What
way.
about that one that you guys were the decision to leave? Weren't there police in that one?
Yeah, but that was more or less about two people. Not he just happened to be a cop. Like, it was more of a personal relationship movie.
There was a goofy cop in it.
Was there? I don't know. Oh, of course there was.
I think one of the guys like they
One of
had
his
just
friends or
one
something?
like put in there. Like, yeah.
trying to
When
remember.
his partner, it's been a little while. I need to watch
Gotta
it again.
have it.
I really love the
Gotta have
movie, but yeah, I think one of the cops, if I remember correctly, was not quite as like slapsticky,
Yeah.
but he was definitely kind of the kind of goofball.
Oh,
I think he gets
man.
shot later in the movie. I'm trying to remember.
What, the goofball cop?
Yeah,
He does.
I think he gets shot. Like,
Yeah,
later
something
in the
happens to
movie.
him.
Yeah,
Something happens to him. I think the girl does something to him. I can't remember.
I need to
I
rewatch
don't
it. I
remember
guess.
either.
But that's a fantastic movie, man. I got that one on Blu-ray too.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that.
But yeah, man. I mean, I really do enjoy Asian cinema like quite a bit. Even with a swing and a miss occasionally. Like, there's so much stuff about it that I like, and I think maybe it's because it's told in a completely different way. So I've only been watching that stuff for a short time, if you really think about it. So everything's still so new, man. I'm getting to watch all these movies that I enjoy the story, but it's being told in a way that I've never heard before, and I'm seeing actors I don't know. I'm hearing from directors I'm not familiar with, and there's just a whole nother world that I haven't delved into. Excuse me.
I'm with you there, man. I was at your house at one time and we were talking, and you were like, "Oh, my taste is really eclectic, kind of like nobody gets it." And I'm like, "Bro, you've seen everything. Like, when you have seen it all, it's hard to impress you anymore." And that's why I like
true.
this movie.
I've seen a lot of movies, man. Like,
You've
the
seen
other day I was
it
trying to go
all,
through and
dude.
find one I hadn't seen yet, and I just couldn't find something that I was interested in that I hadn't seen.
I think we're all a little bit jaded movie watchers.
For
'Cause
sure.
We've all seen way too much stuff, and we kind of have crawled into our separate corners.
Well, yeah, and that's why when I see something that's not like something that I think is cool, I'm like, that movie's trash. And in reality, it's probably like a really good movie. I just don't like it.
Give it a chance.
Like Aquaman. I mean, that was like a defining film of a generation, and I just didn't like it, man. I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, you kind of like them all.
Yeah,
that's also true. You can't like them all. And if you do, dude, I watched this guy. He's like this reactor dude. I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to just completely blast the guy, but it's everything that he sees and hears is just the most amazing shit in the world. And I'm like, bro, could you just be you, please? Like, I would love to know what you actually like. Like, he's just like, I don't know. I've never heard Nirvana. I'm like, I call cap, bro. Like, I just don't believe you, man. I think you've heard Nirvana before. These people, man. Yeah, we all
walking
definitely
through the grocery store, you've heard Nirvana. Like,
Oh,
You're
no.
buying produce. You're buying produce, and you're yeah.
Here we are now.
RJ box, you know. It's like,
Entertain us.
Dude, I watched that movie, Chris, that you got me Hair Metal Shotgun Zombie Massacre, bro.
Yeah, talk to me, Goose.
That is a wild, wonderful piece of shit movie, and I love every second of
I
it.
figued you were gonna love it. Just
It's
I didn't watch
so
it.
bad, and I love it so much.
I didn't watch it, but just scrolling through it enough to like.
Oh, buddy, it's
Yeah.
like the OG Evil Dead meets Spinal Tap, dude. And I'm not saying that in like a joking way, bro. That's exactly what this movie is like.
Yeah.
And it's not as good as either of them, but that makes it more fun.
Was it better? Was it better than Kill Her Goats?
Well, Chris, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole, but yes.
Okay.
No, it's yes.
Okay. I
Like
mean,
the-
like, I can't be much worse. So.
Well, so okay, you know how we were talking about. So that's the one movie I was bringing up earlier. I didn't want to talk about. So,
Oh.
well, I didn't want to be rude because I don't want to be shitty, man.
Yeah.
That girl's coming on the show tomorrow. She seems like she's really nice. She's been very pleasant in our email, but like, dude, it is what it is, man. A movie's a movie, and we got what we got. And I would expect you to tell me if you thought my songs that I let you hear earlier sounded like crap. You know, it is what it is, man. Like, but like, remember how we were talking about the women were probably a little harder to get them to do something that might be embarrassing because they have like this different thing going. Like at least in the real world, actors are a little different breed, but these people are fresh to acting. They're not seasoned actors of any kind. These dudes had no problem throwing on a mullet wig and acting ridiculous, and I feel like that's what gave this movie the charm. Is that they were like they didn't care about like how they looked. They turned it up to 10, and they just went balls to the wall with it. And it has a lot of physical like stunts and a lot of practical effects and a lot of gore, funny one-liners and stuff in it. It's a movie like I would say on the scale of like shot on video stuff that I enjoy. This is definitely one of the better quality ones because they had decent cameras and like people. I don't know the dude like Tom Araya's in it randomly. Like you're like what the dude from Lamb of God's in there. I'm like what is happening?
Oh, Randy Blythe.
Yeah, Randy Blythe. Yeah.
Hello. That's what.
Yeah, and so it's just like a silly movie for people that like metal and horror movies. If you like metal and punk and horror, like watch it. If you don't watch it because you won't like it. It's silly and fun, and I'm glad I got a copy of it. And
where do you find it? Is it like on
Chris,
Tubi?
online? Yeah. No, it's one of those, dude.
I bought it.
Yeah,
I actually bought the movie.
Yeah,
which I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that the other day when I gave them to you, but I actually did buy the movie.
Okay, well, let me get you some money then.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. I'll probably forget again, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I mean,
go to the shop.
Yeah, or you can come up to the shop. I mean, I don't think I have anything that you need or want, but
I'm not that worried about it. But yeah, it looked. I think
it's silly fun, man. I enjoyed it, dude. And I'll tell you what, I also softened a lot on Barbarian because now that I know how it ends, because I rewatched that as well. And remember when I first watched it, I was super pissed about the ending. And I still think the ending is terrible. But now that I know how it ends, I just enjoyed the ride for what it was. And I readjusted my Letterboxd review and rating on that one. I
saw that movie with you in the theater.
I was so angry when I left the theater.
You stood up when it was over and you were like, that movie sucked. And I was like, ah. It was like, you were pissed. You were ranting the whole way out the door.
I was so pissed, man. The end of that movie was so dumb, but it is what
it is,
man. You have a point.
You have a valid point. I mean, with all of it, I think. So.
Well, the thing is that, like, when you're going to give us a movie that's that crazy and that vulgar and that gnarly, like, why are you going to go soft on the end? Like, you can give us a solid ending and it's going to be like people that like this stuff are going to watch it. Is it going to make any less money if you don't? I don't think it will. Like with the Black Mask, like I've had time to simmer on that one too. That's the one that I didn't really change my mind on. I've watched it 3 times now, dude. And I just can't get behind it, man. I think it was just terrible. I just don't. I'm really bummed, man. I love Ethan Hawke, like to a point to where like I search his movies out and watch them. If he's in something, I'm interested in, But I'm not gonna keep talking about it. It's one of those things where that's one that I went back on and just didn't really change my mind on. Did anybody watch anything else this week at all? I know Josh did a second.
Beau is Afraid.
Watch on Beau is Afraid. So am I the only one that hasn't watched that now?
No, I haven't seen it either.
You haven't seen it either? Well, I don't want to get too many spoilers because I don't think he was into that stuff. I don't personally care, but Josh,
I'm going to see it.
Okay, Josh, did you take an edible and watch it? I mean, I'm going to see it too. I just don't care about spoilers.
The second time I did, yeah.
You did? Did that improve it, or did that make a difference at all? Or
it was fun. It didn't. I feel like I actually caught things that.
That's the first time I've heard those words talked about. Beau's Afraid. It was fun.
Well, I mean, it is an anxious ride, but I really enjoyed the movie, especially the second time around. Like knowing what was coming, like all the crazy twists and turns. Like knowing where it's going and kind of just going for the ride, it was really entertaining, actually.
And
I kind of caught things that kind of tie back into the story, and there's a lot of like little details that you don't really pick up on the first time around. So it's definitely worth the second watch if you're
into it.
As long as you don't hate it. Like it's definitely going to benefit anybody from a second watch.
Yeah. Dude, rewatches are so important on movies that are like complex at all.
Yeah.
On something that's silly, schlocky horror stuff, maybe not. Don't need that. Like, but I can imagine that. Okay, so this is. I hate to even say it like this, but I don't know any other way to say it. But like, as stoked as you got about that movie, Josh, it made me less excited because I was like, well, if he likes it that much, I was like, crap, dude, I'm gonna hate this movie. And I still want to watch it just as a fan of Joaquin Phoenix and a fan of film. And honestly, I think Ari Aster's cool, man. I want to watch what he's doing, but like, Somebody was saying, and I don't know how. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't really know. Other than I thought it was an interesting take. Is that they think this is going to ruin his career, and I was like, that's an interesting take.
Snap.
And
I don't think so.
I mean, I would be surprised if it did, but
it will set him back. I actually said that in my review. It is gonna be an uphill battle for him. I think he'll have to go back to a much smaller budget for his next movie.
Well, I'm hearing that they're already pulling it from theaters.
Wow.
Yeah, it made no money.
You know, so at Alamo, I will say that there's one benefit that I have of working at Alamo is that I understand things that I didn't used to understand. Like the fact that it's 3 hours, they're like, why in the hell will we have that in a theater when we can play two back-to-back Evil Deads and that's selling tickets? And they're like, I'm like, oh, the waiters don't want to wait. Dude, every waiter is like, no, I don't want to work this movie. The crowd sucks. The movie's too long. I'm not making any money. They have these things called rounds. And they're 2 rounds versus 4. I'm making half the money, if that. And I'm like, wow, that matters. And so from that point of view, it's going to be one that is going to be difficult to convince people to want to keep it in theaters. And that's been my whole problem with it the entire time is the runtime. And it's not.
I really want to see it. I'm starting to get some FOMO here. I mean, I really want to see it so bad, and then I want to see it in IMAX. And Josh was showing me that it's not even in IMAX, but until Wednesday. So,
why are you so set on seeing it in IMAX?
Man, just to be like, y'all saw it twice. I saw it in IMAX.
Right.
I just like.
I wanted to go see it in IMAX, but there's only like 3 showings per day, and they're all like later in the day.
No, I don't see much IMAX, and I hear it's like a visual kind of overload.
Oh, that does make sense. I hear that too.
I don't know. I just, sometimes I try to challenge myself a little.
I was just curious because you've mentioned it a lot, so I know you want to see it in IMAX, and I was just wondering if there was a particular reason why.
It's completely insane that they formatted that. This is kind of a movie for IMAX. It's
I don't even know what that means.
Like, I mean, it costs a lot of extra money just to to set up an IMAX format. Like you're paying.
I didn't know that. I don't know much about that part of it.
We got special cameras and all kind of stuff that they got to use.
Okay. Yeah, I did. I mean, I knew it was like some special stuff, but I didn't know it was like that big a deal. I thought maybe they just reserved it for people that wanted to do it.
Yeah, like a behind the scenes kind of digital button they pushed. Like, okay,
that's kind of what I thought. So it's a whole okay.
No, it's like I think pretty sure they reformat like the entire.
Wow,
movie.
That's crazy, bro.
Because IMAX is a completely different ratio.
Oh, I guess it is, huh?
Yeah.
I haven't seen an IMAX movie in so long.
Yeah,
IMAX is cool, man.
I mean, Alamo doesn't have them, so
no, bro. Those things are like twice the size of one of our screens.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing I kind of wish that they had, but because we always go there, I very rarely go out of my way for IMAX.
Man, like probably a year ago. Maybe even longer than that, dude. But it's been since we had like COVID-19 happen. So like within the last like year or two, I've like made myself learn how to taper off of my FOMO. Like Hugh was saying, like I feel like I'm getting FOMO. I used to get that like anxiety really bad and be like, oh, I have to go watch this or listen to this. And I've watched a lot of movies that I thought I just need to go watch it because all my friends are watching it. But in the last like year, I don't give a shit anymore, man. If it's not something I'm interested in, I just don't want to go watch it and a lot of it is Josh. A lot of it's you're like, dude, if you're not going to like it, don't go watch it. Like, why in the hell are you wasting your time? And then also part of it is you being like irritated that I just shit on a movie you really like because I think it's garbage.
Well, I mean,
you do the same to me, but like I'm trying to like not do it as much, and I think I'm doing a better job than I used to. But like, but I try not to go like if I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, I don't make it a point to go shoehorn myself into a viewing of it so that I can just like the fact that I didn't go watch the other day. It didn't even occur to me until you said it that maybe me watching it before work would be a terrible idea. So like,
could have ruined your day,
bro.
Possibly.
I will say this though: when you left, I didn't do anything until about an hour before I got off of work. I stood there and did nothing the whole day.
Yeah, I figured you could have gone, but
I could have gone twice probably to that movie. But I need to go see Evil Dead again, and I'd like to try to catch Renfield one more time in the theater, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because I want to prioritize Evil Dead. I think because of one thing that I think I missed. So,
man, I loved Evil Dead.
It was awesome, dude.
I didn't think I would like it at all, and
I
I
was
walked
shocked
out of
you
that.
liked it.
Yeah, Anna didn't particularly care for it. She was like, it was just too much crazy going on.
Oh, really?
But that's Evil Dead.
I
as
didn't
far
think
as
it
I'm
was that
concerned.
crazy, bro. I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
tame, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's just profuse gore, which is awesome.
I didn't think it was
but,
that either. I didn't think it was very gory, and I didn't think it was very crazy. That's wild, man.
There's blood all over that movie. There's puddles and puddles and puddles.
Did you
mean,
watch it 2013 yet?
No, I
This
got
doesn't
about
even touch
20
that movie,
minutes
bro.
Yeah, 2013's like from what I hear, like I've heard people compare it to 2013 and like, yeah, this one's kind of like not as bloody and not as violent as 2013.
Bro, I'm
That's-
telling
I've-
you, dude. I don't
I've-
think this movie was that crazy or that bloody. That's the first thing I said to my buddy when I left the theater. He goes, "How'd you like it?" I said, "It wasn't as gory as I was hoping it'd be, but I liked it." I'm not saying I'm talking crap. I liked the movie, but I didn't think it was particularly.
I just can't
That's-
imagine.
yeah.
Like
all
I
the stuff that
mean,
we watch, and you thought that was that gory. That's interesting. I want to rewatch it though. I've only seen it the one time.
I would
I
say
mean-
for the average normal person, that thing is off the chain.
I don't.
Crazy.
I'm not an average normal person, so I don't look at it like that.
I mean, comparing it to 2013, I mean, 2013, I believe, still holds the record for the most amount of blood used in a movie.
Let's go.
What?
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't know that, bro? 2013 is a
No.
masterpiece, bro. The movie's amazing.
It's
dude.
not a masterpiece.
It
I
is.
mean, I started getting into it, and I was like, "This is the exact same movie as Evil Dead. Like, it's just a reboot, isn't it?"
Yes, it's just not campy and dumb. Like it's the same story, but told in a
Which is why it's not as good.
I mean,
I
and
like
Evil
both of
Dead.
them.
No, I
Evil
just
Dead
do.
Rise
I
was
do
like
too.
a kind of a fresh telling of the movie. I thought it was in a hotel or like a condo kind of.
No, it's a
place.
prequel to to Evil Dead.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the newness of it. But yeah, dude, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Let's just do.
No,
that.
the newness is what is like the best part of it is that it was like in a different. I totally
Different
liked that
setting.
it wasn't in a cabin. I really am behind that fully, man. I just like
Yeah.
2013, but I don't really look at them as the same thing. Like I know they
Yeah,
are,
sure.
but I look at them like, no, I love this and I love this. But if I'm choosing one to put in my personal list, I'm going with 2013. But that doesn't mean that I actually think that it's that much better than the originals. They're just, I don't like to talk about them as the same things because they're so different in aesthetics.
tones
But
are,
yeah,
yeah,
tonally
completely
they're so
different.
black
Yeah.
and white. But the stories, it's a perfect example of two different people telling the same story and they're wildly different. Is
Mhm.
Evil Dead, you know?
Well, the way I understood 2013 was like, well, when they went to make the original one, they didn't necessarily set out to have it so
Correct.
silly and
Yeah.
goofy. They were just limited by what they had.
Mhm.
So the idea behind 2013 was to actually capture like a serious version of the story
Yes.
and yeah, just like turn it up to freaking 13
Well,
and
Sam Raimi
just-
produced it. It was on set
Yeah.
a lot, and he definitely wanted it to be what it is. Like, I mean, it wasn't up to him really, I guess, but like he was a producer, I'm pretty sure, and
I believe so, yeah.
yeah, and he was around for that movie. It was like that got his blessing. So yeah, which makes it easier for me to appreciate it and like it. Because if he was like, "Oh, I hate this movie," or I'd probably feel some kind of way. I'm like, "Oh man, really?"
Even if he did, he wouldn't say it. Sam Raimi is like a super like meek, like really nice guy. Apparently,
That's cool, man. I like that. I like that, dude. That's a weird thing for that guy to be, though.
Yeah. He's like a really like soft spoken, like nice guy. Apparently, so.
But
was good.
yeah, that whole franchise is pretty rad, though, man. I'm glad it's.
Yeah.
I like Ash vs. the Evil Dead a lot too, man. That is a TV show that is very underrated, in my opinion.
I've never seen it.
I
I've
liked
been-
that so much too. I liked the dark-haired girl in it. I thought she was super attractive.
Dude,
I
Chris,
never finished it, but it was
Oh,
good.
it's like an amalgamation of the 2013 and the Evil Dead 2. It's like
Yeah.
right in the middle. It's like super gory and like modern, but it's campy still because it's got
Bruce
old
Campbell.
fart face in it, and it's got the chin.
They canceled it, right? I mean, it
Yes.
was
Yeah, it's like 3 seasons, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
was
Dude,
kinda
that is
funny.
like one of the things that most people that are into this stuff that's the show people are pissed about.
I binge watched the hell out of that, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, dude.
so
When they leave a
disappointing.
show like that that's not completed, you're like, dude.
Does it just end too? I didn't
bro?
finish
It ends on a cliffhanger.
That's
They did that with Ridley Scott's show I was watching, Raised by Wolves. It was an HBO
Really?
show.
Oh,
Yeah, it was amazing, I thought. And then it was just like, well, it's over, gone, no more.
Yeah, I watched the first season of that. And it was pretty good.
Dude, just another
Yeah.
reason that I don't want to get into shows, dude. Like I stopped watching Yellow Jackets just because I was like, look, dude, I watched the first season, I enjoyed it. At some point, this is gonna suck if they keep going on. I'm just gonna bow out now. And like The Last of Us, I watched 2 episodes, was like, you know what? I just don't care. I'm gonna go back to movies, man. I'm gonna be
Yeah. I never got back onto it either. I watched like the first episode. But
yeah, that way I could just not worry about it. If it sucks at the end, I don't even care. Like everybody hates all these amazing shows because of how they end, and very few of them end the right way. In all honesty, so I mean, you know, my favorite ending of all time is The Sopranos, though, because I was so shocked by that ending. I was like, that's really the end. Like
that
I sat
show
there for
changed
probably
my life.
I probably sat there for 20 minutes thinking like, wait, something else about to come back on, right? Like really, it's just gonna be like
the cable cut out. What happened?
Dude, he's like, and then what? And you're like, okay, middle of pouring the sugar in the coffee, huh? But cool, man. Well, the movie for this
That had
week,
such a huge impact on me.
Yeah.
it's a good show, man. I
One of
mean,
my favorites.
good is an understatement. It is a fantastic.
Sopranos and Breaking Bad. Those are my 2 all-time favorites.
Yeah, Breaking Bad's probably my all-time favorite. And then what else did I like? There was another one that I liked a lot. Oh,
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. Thank you. Sons of Anarchy is probably my that show affected me, bro. Like there was some deaths in that had me literally sobbing, dude.
Yeah.
I was just like,
That was an amazing show,
bro. When they got old buddy in jail, Jax's homeboy, and then they closed the door. And you see him in that little
Opie.
Opie, dude. I literally I was like, are they really gonna? And I just choked, and I was like, and Carissa was like, "Are you okay?" I look over, she's crying. I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. I'm like, bro, that was my dog too, bro. I was like, not Opie, bro.
That show got brutal towards the end,
Dude.
especially.
Yeah, bro. Oh, dude, when they got Tara, I couldn't believe they let that happen. I was like, they really wrote that in here, huh? I was like, all right, we're gonna go out.
And it was my
bang.
boy Henry Rollins that did all the terrible things.
Yeah,
I was
I
like, man,
forgot
that's
about
Henry
that.
Rollins. Hey, man. Hey, oh, shit.
Dude,
No.
I hate Henry Rollins, man.
I'm so
know.
surprised by that.
Wait, are you really?
I know you.
No.
do.
Oh, dude, that was awesome. I was like, huh? Like, what about that guy? Like, that's funny. Like, you know, I listened to him talk a few times, and like, I've even gone to one of his spoken word things. Like, I went and watched him and Jello
really?
Biafra do a spoken word thing together. The guy from Dead Kennedys, and I didn't know his spoken word because I was like, I don't know, hi. Like, I was just like,
I'm gonna go watch Black Flag. What's up?
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna watch. I thought they were doing like some
Rollins.
solo shit, dude. I just wasn't paying attention, and my friend was like, "Going to go?" I was like, "Yeah." And the thing was that he knew it was spoken word, just didn't tell me because I think he thought I wouldn't go, and I wouldn't have. And so I get there, and there's like chairs set up, and I was like, "What's with the chairs?" And then my buddy's like, well, we're sitting back here," and I was like, "Why are we sitting down?" And I'm like, "What's?" And then some like librarian looking fellow walks up and is like, "Dink, dink, dink. Hey, thanks everybody for coming out and." First up, we're gonna have a guys on a blah 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 come out, and some kid came out and told some story, and I was like,
around hors d'oeuvres later,
bro, they're passing around that soggy toast and a bunch of douchebags. I was like, what is happening right now, bro? And then he comes up on stage, and it was like, I mean, honestly, in hindsight, it was kind of cool that I was there, but it was thoroughly confusing for like the first half an hour or so. Like I just couldn't. My buddy's laughing at me, dude. I'm like, what is happening, bro? I hate you so much. But yeah, Henry Rollins, dude, the dude can jump off a bridge, man. Fuck him.
He's very California.
Right.
I don't think that's
Well,
California.
he's like weird for the sake of being weird, bro. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go walk around Asia for 2 months with no phone because I'm just that close to the earth. Why don't you fuck off and bury yourself then? Like, oh man, dude.
I think he's just like a hyper introvert.
Yeah, no, and I'm like the polar opposite of that. So like,
Yeah.
hey Henry, he would hate me, dude. Like,
I'd love to.
oh, I want
I'd
to
love
interview him so
disappear
bad
somewhere.
now.
He'll lock
I'd
you
love
two
to
in a
disappear
room.
somewhere.
Yeah, I would definitely disappear somewhere. He's bigger than me. I don't know. He's pretty old now.
Yeah.
Oh.
What
You
were
know,
saying, Chris?
yeah. What'd you say, Chris?
No, I was saying, yeah, lock you two in a room.
Well, that would be so messed up,
Or
bro.
he couldn't get away from you, and you just bugged the shit out of him.
Two men enter.
Thunderdome.
Let's go.
Master
go.
Blaster.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Henry Rollins is an interesting fellow, though.
So
Well,
Randy would be the guy climbing off of the giant's back.
I'm not a big dude, that's for sure. Oh, I feel like I should write him an apology letter now.
He's got
Sorry.
the mind of a child.
Sorry, Henry Rollins. Dude, I didn't even like Black Flag that much, to be honest. I've never been a Black Flag fan. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't hate it, but I was like, that's all right. Okay, so this movie this week is on Netflix, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, and if you guys have already seen this or you have an objection to it, let me know. I have another pick. I picked out Piercing.
I've never heard of it.
Okay. I'm glad. Okay. Chris, you know anything about this one?
Nope, nothing.
You? Okay,
so it's a love story.
It is.
My kind of movie.
The synopsis goes as such. There's this wealthy guy, and he really wants to be Christian Bale from American Psycho. And so he goes on these work trips, and he's planning on unaliving some people. And he calls up a date, and she shows up, and he's going to unalive the date. And then she figures out what's going on, and then that's all I'm going to tell you. And it's I hope y'all like this. I hope Hugh likes it, because I thought of him when I was like pulling it out. I was like, man, this might be right up Hugh's alley, but like a pretty good amalgamation of his style and mine. It's got some like cool sexual tension stuff and some cool like almost I would say at least borderline kink stuff going on. Yeah, no, it's I've seen it before. I've watched it once, and I
get my glove back on here.
Right.
Hey, Mia Wasikowska is pretty hot. So
I'm only 82
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. What is she from?
She was in Crimson Peak. She was in.
Oh, she has longer hair in that, huh?
I think so. Yeah,
Long
she
blonde
does.
hair.
Yeah. I mean, she's in like the Alice in Wonderland movies.
That's what it is that I recognize her from, is the Alice in Wonderland thing.
Yeah, she's in quite a few things, but yeah, she's cute.
I will just give you guys the one the disclaimer. I only watched it the one time, and it's been about 2.5 years. So I remember it being pretty solid. I genuinely let me look at the runtime.
It's 82 minutes.
Okay,
82.
perfect. Okay, well, it's short as all get out then. So
even if it's bad Milo, it
is not that bad. I can tell you for a fact. But episode 128 will be Piercing. And we'll talk about it next week. I have Monday and Tuesday off, so if you guys want to do it Monday and get it over with earlier, that's fine by me. I don't have a preference really. I just want to make sure we all get to watch it beforehand. Next Saturday is Bricken's birthday and a big UFC fight. If you guys want to come over, you are invited. Josh, you and the kids are specifically invited over to come hang out with Bricken and Charlie for a while.
Okay.
The house is clean. We've spent 2 days like deep cleaning it, and I've been working really hard at keeping it clean. So I'm really happy right now with the house. So if y'all want to come over, it's way, way cleaner than normal. And
nice.
Not this Saturday, right? No,
on the 6th. Yeah, on the 6th.
The 6th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to give you guys heads up. It's like in a week and a half, if you guys want to come over. But yeah, man. Dude, thank you guys for helping me keep the podcast on the right track tonight, man. It was hard to talk about that stuff without going off the rails, man.
Yeah. I think we did okay.
I do too. I'm really happy with it. So if they have a problem with it, oh well. I genuinely appreciate it. I know it's kind of hard to like just, censor ourselves. We don't really talk like that in real life. So
yeah.
But cool, man. Thanks everybody. We'll see y'all next week, man. Go check out Piercing. It's on Netflix. So go check it out there, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.